Welcome back to Banging the Can, the Houston sports show that does not apologize for championship rings and tings, with new episodes dropping every Monday and Friday, presented by Bolen Media. I am Ross Bolen, and God, that was a truly miserable weekend of baseball. Just awful, ugly, terrible stuff. I feel like I need a shower, and I showered 3 times between Friday and Sunday. Maybe TMI, maybe I just need someone to Men in Black blast my memories out of my fucking head so I can never think about that series with the Orioles ever again. If you are watching on youtube.com/@bangingthecan, quickly crush that subscribe button, throw us a like on this video, and when a comment occurs to you over the course of today's show, please throw it in the comment section below. Thank you for your service, Can Bangers. The Astros lost their 3-game home series against the last-place Baltimore Orioles, managing one measly win on a 12th inning infield hit walk-off, which somehow failed to even feel like a win, continuing what has been a confusing and distressing last couple months of the summer and making the weekend on the whole a largely shitty one. And yet, the surging Seattle Mariners managed only one win themselves against the struggling New York Mets, so the lead the Astros held over the AL West on Thursday, 1.5 games, remains just that, 1.5 games going into this week. It's kind of amazing how you can watch 3 games of truly embarrassing mid-August baseball from your team, and yet literally nothing has changed in terms of the standings. Morale inside my brain, however, is notably lower than it was last week. Framber Valdez pitched in Game 1 on Friday night, giving up 3 earned runs in 6 2/3 innings of work, striking out 6, yielding 9 hits. Framber wasn't his best, okay? Didn't have his best stuff, but Framber certainly wasn't the problem, at least not during the actual game anyway. The Astros offense mustered exactly 1 hit in 9 innings of play against Orioles starter Brandon Young, who came into the game with a record of 0 wins and 6 losses and an ERA of 6.7 in his first 10 starts of his major league career. Brandon Young, 0 wins, 6 losses, 6.7 ERA, rookie season, 10 starts into his career. We got 1 fucking hit. Brandon Young was 4 outs away from the first perfect game in Baltimore Orioles history on Friday night before former Oriole Ramon Urias achieved an otherwise meaningless infield single. So, we came into this series thinking, all right, last place Orioles, time to sweep this series and build on our division lead while the Mariners face off against the Mets. And we left Friday night thinking, all right, how many more days until football season starts? Embarrassing. Ridiculously embarrassing stuff. Fortunately for me, I was busy doing dinner and bedtime with my kids for much of the game on Friday night, so I didn't turn it on until the 8th inning, just minutes before Urias broke up the no-hitter and perfect game in one fell swoop. Now, you can look at this 2 ways. Either I am personally responsible for the Astros avoiding the embarrassment of having a perfect game thrown against them by a rookie pitcher on a last-place team, because when I turned on the game, we finally got a hit. Or I am personally responsible for the perfect game almost taking place, because if I had been watching the entire game, we would have gotten way more hits. I choose to believe the former. I do apologize, however, to all Astros fans who watched this entire game, particularly those who were in Daikin Park for the Friday night fireworks and had to sit through the entire thing, because holy shit, that sucked. I guess it was maybe karma for what we did to the Dodgers on the 4th of July, I suppose. So, Framber, once again, didn't have his best stuff, and once again made some rather alarming comments about his defensive teammates to the media after the game. And Sean Dubin was not good in relief, giving up 3 runs, and in general, this game was fucking disgusting. And I want to say quickly about Framber. We all know Framber's on his way out, all right? This is his last couple months in an Astros jersey in all likelihood. He is going to hit free agency. He is going to get a $200 to $300 million bag from somebody. We know Jim Crane is not going to pay Framber. Framber has always been a bit of a head case. Psychological is always the arena in which he has struggled physically and in terms of his natural ability, his strength, his stuff, his pitch selection, his accuracy. He's been one of the best in the game pretty much his entire Astros tenure, with some exceptions here or there. It's on the mental side of things and the attitude side of things where he has struggled. And for some reason, that is becoming a real problem again, because he is getting really frustrated with the losses he is taking on the mound that he sees as not being his fault. And certainly Friday night was not his fault. But that doesn't mean you go to the media and you take it out on your teammates and you throw guys under the bus, and that's what he's doing. And I don't know if that's just because he's like, what the hell, I'm getting out of here anyway, who cares what these guys think about me? But somebody in the locker room needs to sit this dude down, probably Carlos Correa, and tell Framber Valdez to please just shut the hell up. We have enough problems without this becoming a storyline. And so far, by and large, it's getting mostly ignored by the media, Framber's frustrations and the way he's airing them to the media. But there's going to be a tipping point or a breaking point or a line that gets crossed where at some point it's going to cause a real problem. Somebody needs to bite this in the butt before that happens. Bite it in the butt, nip it. Nip it. You nip it. You don't bite it in the bud. You nip it in the bud. And it's the bud, not the butt. So you can bite it in the butt or nip it in the bud. Somebody's got to do one of the two. Please, Carlos, tell Framber to shut his fucking pie hole. Game 2, Saturday evening, we had Jason Alexander on the mound, and the summer of George continued with Jason going 6 innings, giving up only 3 hits and 2 earned runs with 6 strikeouts. Because the game went to 12 innings, we also had to burn King, Sousa, Ort, Abreu, Okert, and De Los Santos, who picked up the win. The Astros walked it off in the 12th with Ramon Urias beating out Jackson Holliday's throw to first, allowing Carlos Correa to score from third. And yes, it was really hard to feel good about this win. That being said, if not for Ramon Urias, this weekend may have broken my spirit. Thank God for that guy showing up and ruining the perfect game and giving us the walk-off the next night. Ramon Urias, huge weekend, his biggest as an Astro so far. Albeit a truly pathetic one. On Sunday afternoon for Game 3, the Astros saw Christian Javier on the bump for his second start since returning from Tommy John surgery and missing 14 months. Now, Christian's velocity was down across the board, and this was noted by the commentators in the first inning. Conversation around that kind of scattered throughout the second and third inning as well. And he was eventually pulled from the game after 3 innings due to illness. Not exactly ideal, but hey, when he got pulled, we all thought, oh my God, maybe he returned too quickly from Tommy John because of his velo being down. And we will take diarrhea over that every single day of the week. Unfortunately, Sean Dubin came in for his third appearance since being out the majority of the summer with injury, and he gave up 4 runs in 1 inning. Dubin has given up 4 runs, 3 runs, and 4 runs in his 3 appearances since returning from injury. He is not good currently, Dubin. Not good. Caleb Ort also gave up 2 runs. Jordan Weems gave up 5 runs. Chas McCormick was the most effective Astros relief pitcher of the day, which tells you pretty much everything you need to know about this game. Chas retired all 3 Orioles batters he faced in the 9th. The Astros managed 0 runs on 6 hits and lost 12-0. And it would have been a lot worse had Jesus Sanchez not robbed both a grand slam and a 3-run ding-dong in this same game. That is 7 runs saved by Jesus Sanchez and his glove in right field. Cam Smith had a rest day. Never mind the fact that Jesus Sanchez is 0 for his last 21 plate appearances. Oh my God. Please make it stop. So yeah, this was a nightmare of a series. One where we were looking to pad our division lead against one of the worst teams in baseball. And we got that opportunity with the Mariners losing 2 of 3 to the Mets. And yet somehow we managed to fail to score a single run on both Friday and Sunday, getting outscored 23-5 by the last place Orioles across 3 games on our home fucking field. According to Brian McTaggart, the Astros are now 38-26 at home with a -10 run differential. That was before Sunday's game ended that Brian McTaggart tweeted that. Not ideal. During this 6-game homestand, Astros relievers posted an ERA of 11.31, giving up 31 earned runs in 24 and 2/3 innings with 8 homers allowed. Puke in my pants and call me Sally. In positive news, General Manager Dana Brown suggested Sunday that Yordan Alvarez could be activated from the 60-day injured list at some point during the upcoming weekend. The 28-year-old Yordan is likely to return when Houston begins a 10-game homestand August 26th, according to Chandler Rome of The Athletic. But yeah, Alvarez on the way back, slated to kick off a rehab assignment with the AA Corpus Christi on Tuesday. That'll be his first game action since he landed on the IL on May 5th due to what was later to be revealed as a small fracture in his right hand. So Alvarez has been shelved for more than 3 months, is not expected to require surgery, just this lengthy rehab. Or I'm sorry, not expected to require surgery, and it's not expected that this will be a lengthy rehab assignment. So they're thinking Yordan can go get a couple maybe games in double, AAA, whatever, and then he should be back. Now, look, we've been talking about this literally the entire summer at this point. Yordan Alvarez, the injury, what's going on with his fucking hand? When is he going to be back? This saga of Alvarez's injury this season has sucked. It's sucked to talk about. It's sucked to be this looming thing that is hung over the entire season. So, yeah, you hope that this latest news that he's actually going to do a rehab start in AA is good news and that he actually will rejoin the team. By the 10-game homestand we start on August 26th. That's 8 days away from me speaking. God knows this team needs offense. We really need offense. We badly need more consistent offense. And Yordan Alvarez has been over the last 5 seasons probably our most terrifying offensive weapon. I don't know how to put it. Everyone knows what Yordan Alvarez is capable of when he's healthy. We all know he's just not fucking healthy. He just hasn't been healthy. It would be amazing to get him back. You have to think, that would be a huge boost in the clubhouse, right? To know you've got that guy somewhere in the first 5 slots of the lineup is enormous. Now, we've talked about over the past couple weeks, especially since the trade deadline and picking up Carlos Correa and Jesus Sanchez and Ramon Urias, just how scary on paper this team could be with Yordan plugged into the batting lineup. Just how good it would feel, how good it would look, right? So yeah, we're all excited for Yordan to come back, but it's one of those things where this has gone on for so long at this point, it's like, we'll believe it when we see it. That's how I feel. I'll believe it when I see it. Good, great, AA, all right, yeah, sure, maybe he goes to AAA too, okay, whatever, but rehab assignment, all right, baseball activities, hashtag baseball activities. I just I don't know what else to say about this. Like, yes, it could be really great to get him back. Is he going to be able to stay healthy? Is the hand going to be a lingering issue? Is he going to go back out again? Like, what? We're just going to have to wait and see. All that to say, I don't know how excited to get about Yordan Alvarez right now. I don't know how excited to get. I don't know how much to care about this. I find myself hesitant to get pumped because I'm scared of the heartbreak that could follow. But God knows we need offense, and Yordan Alvarez, that's what he does. So it could be very positive news here before the end of the month to get Yordan Alvarez back in an Astros jersey, back in the lineup, back to doing what he does best. Now, back to the negative. Josh Hader spoke with the media over the weekend and essentially said that after taking 3 weeks off to rest his shoulder, it'll take him at least 2 weeks to ramp back up throwing. So the odds of us seeing Josh Hader again in the regular season are close to 0. But it is possible he could return for the postseason. Okay? Josh Hader is obviously an extremely pivotal part of this team, right? This is our closer. This is the guy that Jim Crane dumped a bag on last year, brought him in, the whole controversy with Hader and Ryan Presley, with Hader winning out, getting the closing job, Ryan Presley eventually being traded to the Cubs. He's since been cut by the Cubs. It's been this whole debacle. Hader was incredible this season. Obviously, it goes without saying. Was it 28 of 29 save opportunities, something like that he converted, something crazy. My brain is telling me those numbers are wrong. Maybe it's 23 of 24, something like that. Doesn't matter. All but one of his save opportunities he converted. But he has gone out 7 times this season and thrown multiple innings. We saw this happening last year, too. And when it started happening last year, it was a big talking point because Josh Hader had never done multiple innings over the course of his career, wherever he was before with the Padres or whatever. So it was kind of interesting that Joe Espada was willing to use Josh Hader the way he was for multiple innings, right? And for some reason in that Yankees series in particular, the one where Hader threw 36-plus pitches and then came up with the shoulder issue that he has now, it felt a little bit like red flaggy even when it was happening. Like, as it was happening, it's like, okay, well, I hope this works. And also, is Josh going to be okay? Like, so when he does come back, whether it's in the postseason this year, fingers crossed, knock on wood, pray to all the gods you believe in, or it's next season, whichever, whatever, we don't know. There's no way for us to know, and with the way things have gone with Astros injuries this year, does anybody really expect this to be as simple as him resting for 3 weeks, ramping up for 2 weeks, and then being ready for the postseason? Come on. It's almost eye-rolly at this point if you've got that much optimism related to injuries on this Astros ball club at this point. Have you not been paying attention? Have you not seen what the baseball gods have been doing to us this year? Like, it feels unlikely. But regardless, I don't think they should ever let this dude throw multiple innings ever again. Ever again. And in Hader's comments to the media over the weekend, he didn't come out and say, hey, I never want to throw multiple innings again, but he sort of put it in between the lines. He sort of sprinkled it in there like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, maybe I shouldn't be ever throwing multiple innings. Like, that shouldn't be a thing anymore, okay? I don't know if that means retooling the bullpen somehow or Dana Brown needing to get another guy in the offseason to serve as like a fucking pennant just fell off the wall. That can't be a good sign. To serve as like a, somebody that can ensure that Hader doesn't need multiple innings. But that cannot happen anymore. We've got Hader under contract for 3 more years, I think. We signed him to a 5-year deal. This is season 2 of the 5. 3 more seasons we have this guy, who is inarguably one of the best closers in baseball. Maybe manage his run a little bit more, more carefully there, guys. Dana Brown, Joe Espada, please, for the love of God. So we'll see what happens with Hader. Yeah, my thing is, do you even want to get him back for the postseason? Do you want this guy to go from 3 weeks on the shelf to 2 weeks ramping up to being thrown into the postseason? Does that not alarm? I'm almost like, fuck it. Let's just get Brian Abreu comfortable as a closer and let him have that spot. It's just, that's a lot of discombobulation if you're like, you got to use Abreu for the last month and a half of the season, and then you're going to change the strategy completely and go back to Josh Hader for the postseason. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm just saying all of this freaks me out a little bit. I don't love that we're having to talk about it, period. But Josh Hader all but definitely will not return during the regular season. So, after botching their series against the last-place Orioles at home, the Astros go on the road to face the first-place Detroit Tigers on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week. We've got Spencer Arrighetti back on the mound tonight against Jack Flaherty. We get to see Tariq Skubal versus Hunter Brown matchup on Tuesday, which will be fun. And Wednesday, we've got Framber Valdez against Charlie Morton, which should also be fun. Old Uncle Charlie. I miss that guy. So, yet another big August series, this time against a legit championship contender with hopes of avoiding a sweaty September. Hashtag sweaty September. We need some wins here. Need to see some spark. Need to see some fight. I can't believe I'm having to repeat these talking points because you have to ask yourself this question right now. Ask yourself this question. Are the Astros scaring anyone? Is anybody looking at the Astros right now, as a team they do not want to match up against in the postseason? Not with their play this summer. They're not scaring anyone. And that's my biggest issue with what's happened over the past 2 months. Yes, the injuries have caught up to us. Yes, it's a long 162-game baseball season, and you're going to have stretches where you don't look your best. But there have been, 5 different series over the course of July and August now where you look at this team and they are struggling in one way or another. It's at 5 different series, whether it's been the pitching that has been just dog shit, god-awful, and falling off a cliff, or having to rely on all these, class AAA guys that have come in and tried to fill the gaps, or on the offensive side of things where we have just no-showed 2 out of 3 games in a Baltimore series against a last-place Orioles team at home on a pivotal weekend mid-August, trying to avoid a sweaty September. It's hard to imagine that anybody is scared of this team right now. I think the Mariners are probably chomping at the bit. And fortunately, there have been some of the other big dogs in the league have really, really struggled over this stretch as well. It's not just us. The Dodgers have had a hard time. The Mets have been god-awful. The Yankees have been terrible in stretches. So it's a thing that happens, no doubt. But, one of the really disconcerting things about watching this Orioles season over the weekend for me was I'm watching and I'm like, God, Jesus, these dudes are not ready for October right now. Now, granted, it's not October right now. You got the rest of August and all of September to get your shit right. But where they're at right now ain't it. This ain't it. And I would like to see I think everyone would like to see a different momentum built before the postseason actually comes around. Look, if you watch baseball and pay attention, you are very aware that one of the most important factors to winning a championship is getting hot at the right time. So we don't need to be hot mid-August. It's not that important. It's hot enough outside. But we do need to be hot come late September into early October. And we cannot roll up the way we are rolling right now. We cannot roll up looking like this. We got to get on a better fit and look fly for the postseason. This shit here, son, ain't it. And I know that sounds obvious, like, well, yeah, clearly they haven't been playing their best baseball. But it's not just that. It's the body language, the demeanor, the overall spirit. Like, dude, what the fuck is with all the terrible ABs? It's not even like, look, there's guys you expect to have really bad at-bats. Chas McCormick is one of them. When he's not seeing the ball well, Chas misses by fucking 8 inches. He's swinging. He's nowhere near. It's like if you threw me in the batter's box and just told me to take hacks. I'm not going to be anywhere near the ball. I can swing the bat, but I'm not hitting shit. That's what Chaz looks like. But you expect that from Chazzy Fizz. No disrespect. On occasion, he can't see for shit, and he looks fucking terrible. It's sad. You feel bad for him. But this isn't just Chaz. I've seen terrible at-bats from pretty much everyone on the lineup card. And I'm talking about at-bats where you're like, what was their intent coming out to the plate? Like, what was the game plan? We're not running up the pitch count on anybody. We're taking these ugly hacks early in the count a lot of the time. A bunch of shitty ground outs and pop flies. Like, work the count. It seems like there's been no fucking strategy to our approach at the plate over the past couple months in particular. Like, it's eroded over the course of the season. And for July and August, they just don't look like they know what they're doing up there. And I don't know why that is. I don't know who to blame. I don't know if it's hitting coaches or just all the changes that have occurred or like nobody can get in a rhythm. I don't know. But I do know this. You can tell the difference between a well-prepared team who has a proper strategy for how they are going to approach every at-bat and this shit that the Astros have been doing for a couple of months now. And the Baltimore series is probably the best example yet. When you almost have a perfect game thrown against you by a rookie pitcher who is 0-6 on the season with a 6+ ERA in his 10th start of his major league career, you are doing something wrong. At home, no less. You are doing something wrong. You are doing something wrong. And then to follow that up with a game you squeak the fuck by on an infield walk-off, and then to follow that up with a game where you get blown out 12-0 and don't score a single run on 6 hits or whatever, and still to be looking undisciplined at the plate like you don't have a clue what you're doing on the third game of that series that we knew was important when the first 2 were relatively embarrassing, even if one ended with a win, is inexcusable. I just don't get how it happens. So I don't know what's going on, but I do know the difference between a good at-bat and a bad at-bat. And sometimes good ABs end with bad things happening. Like a line out to just happen to hit it right at a defender, or some shit, or a warning track out. It happens. Or fuck, you run it up 15 pitches into that AB, and then you strike out. Like, that shit happens, and that shit is acceptable because at least you're running up the pitch count. What I'm talking about is these 2-3 pitch at bats that just look like a fucking free-for-all. I don't know who's calling the shots there or what the shit is going on, but you see bad ABs from pretty much everybody except Carlos Correa and Jeremy Pena. Those are the only two guys that pretty much every time they step into the box, I'm like, I know they're not going to fuck around and make me sad in my pants. Even Altuve has, and he's kind of always done this because he loves so much to swing at the first pitch, but like he's had some really, really bad at bats. Christian Walker's had some embarrassing ones. Chaz, obviously, again, kind of goes without saying. Yanier Diaz, off and on. I'm just like, what are you doing? Jesus Sanchez, 0 for his last 20, however many at bats. He's kind of looked like ass. I love that he's having a good time and smiling and robbing grand slams and 3-run bombs. That's great. But like, what is going on with the approach at the plate? Somebody, please, fix it. Fix it. You know what will be a good time for that is now. And I'm really interested to see how they show up for this Tigers series because this has been a problem for this team for a few seasons now. After so many years of winning and winning the division and going to the ALCS in a row, they have developed this habit where they show up for the really good teams and they play down to really bad teams' level. We've seen this happen against the Athletics. We've seen it happen against the Orioles most recently. It is a thing now that this Astros team has made a habit, playing down to the competition. And I understand it's easier to get up for the big dogs. No doubt. I get it. I remember this type of thing being a problem in high school baseball where our coaches would recognize like that we weren't that locked in for really bad teams that we thought we were going to beat, and sometimes that would result in us losing games to teams we otherwise definitely should have fucking beaten. I get it. But, bro, we're trying to avoid sweaty September. Come on. Lock in. That'll do it for today's show. But remember, we have new episodes dropping every Monday and Friday on youtube.com/@bangingthecan. Subscribe on YouTube, like the video, leave a comment, turn on the notifications so you get a notification every time we drop an episode. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, rate and review. Please share the most unapologetic Houston sports show in existence with your friends and family. Follow us on social media @bangingthecan on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Threads @bangingthecan. I'm Ross Bolen. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @WRBolen. I'll be back Friday to discuss the results of this 3-game series against the Detroit Tigers in Detroit. Oh, hopefully it goes well. I need it to. God knows I need it to. From a morale standpoint, I am feeling low, brother. And it's not just because it's Monday. It's because that was fucking embarrassing baseball. Until next time, H-Town, stay down.